Do you know that like really old tweet that's like, wait, so we have to like eat off of our dishes and then clean the dishes and then eat off them again and get them dirty? We have to wash them every day until we die.
Every day until we die.
That's how I feel about doing this podcast.
Today we're talking about basketball. We'll talk about the
Hopefully.
latest across
My favorite sport.
college basketball, prospect thoughts. I'm sure we'll be all over the place. Let's just talk some basketball.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for making Locked On Basketball your first listen every day. We are free to available on the podcast and on YouTube. With today's episode, Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up today at robinhood.com/gold. My name is Hunter Cruz. I'm your Saturday host covering the WNBA draft and prospect scouting. I'm joined by my co-hosts Emily Adler and
Happy
Lincoln
birthday, Em.
Schaefer. Emily covers the draft with a focus on player development and the game within the game. Lincoln
me.
also contributes to our draft coverage here at The Next and Locked On Women's Basketball.
I love the phrasing where it's like, yeah, Lincoln, he's also here.
I'm
Lincoln's
here,
also
too.
here.
Yeah.
What have
know
we
that-
seen so far this week in college basketball? What's been your major takeaways from just the sport so far this season?
My major takeaway from this week is that teams need to schedule better non-conference play right before Thanksgiving.
Mine is road games are hard. Road games are very difficult. We've seen a lot of supposedly good teams struggle in road games. Top 10 Iowa State got beat by an absurd Maya McDermott shooting performance in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Long time, her hoop stats became a mid-major player of the year semifinalist, Maya McDermott.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the mid-major shot makers, Katie Dinnebier.
She dropped a 40-piece on Sunday. She hit
Very
5
fun.
pull-up threes in that game.
Very fun basketball player.
One of 2 players did 5 pull-up threes on Sunday.
Yeah. Montana beat Washington in Montana. Washington might just not be very good.
Washington is so bad.
Northwestern beat Utah. I know that's not a mid-major beating a power school, but it feels like it.
Which gives Northwestern a transitive win over who did Utah beat yesterday?
Utah beat St. Joe's yesterday.
St. Joe's is a very good team. St. Joe's is like
Yeah.
St. Joe's is like a legitimate like not all at large contender. So congrats
started the
Northwestern. You're a
season-
10 seed.
We started the season with Missouri going to Vermont and getting bopped in Binghamton. Is it in
Vermont's is
Binghamton?
good.
I know that Binghamton's in Vermont.
No,
I don't actually know
no.
where the University of Vermont is.
No, Binghamton, the school Binghamton is SUNY Binghamton. That is State University of New York. It is actually on the Pennsylvania border. It almost could not be farther from Vermont.
I just wanted to say Binghamton.
It's a fun name. Not a fun
Yeah.
place, but it's a fun name.
Yeah,
Good
but
school.
the road games are hard, and you wrote about that last week, didn't you, Em?
Yes. Thank you for putting in the plug. It's a great segue you got there. Yes. Not North Dakota State. They are fine. North Dakota State's fine. South Dakota State, stop going there. I mean, like, you should keep going there because it's highly entertaining, but like for your own sake, stop going there. They just kicked Creighton's ass, and then Creighton beat whatever. Creighton's a good team. Solid team.
Creighton's
Not
a
great.
solid team.
They really miss Emma Ronchek.
They really do. They don't have
Really
any size. They're starting. At one point,
Isn't
yesterday
Morgan
against
Millie now the
Nebraska-
5?
Morgan, she's still 3.5. They're starting Mallory Brake at the 5,
Oh.
but they are playing lineups against Alexis Markowski where they have no players over 6 foot on the court.
It's not what you want.
Not exactly what you want, yeah. But they hit 6 threes in the fourth quarter in Omaha to beat Nebraska, who just lost arguably their best player this season to an ACL injury, and it sucked.
It's okay. You're not contemplating death or anything constantly.
No,
because of it.
yeah, ACLs are my nemesis.
But on the bright side, Jess Petrie's in the starting lineup.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Tanaya Latson. She had a very fun game against Florida yesterday. Shout out Liv McGill. Hunter, you want to talk about Liv McGill?
Oh, I can't wait to watch her.
Liv McGill, 5'8", Florida guard. The pacing she plays with, like she's such a fun guard. Like the passing super fun, out of ball screens, the shooting in the mid range. Just a bunch of fun guards like in this freshman class. Like just a
Hunter,
bunch of
among
fun
5'8"
mid-state
freshman
players.
guards, where does Liv McGill rank?
Top 3.
Definitely top 3. I mean, Michaela Blake's at Vanderbilt been playing good basketball.
Should have gone to
Kiyomi McMiller at Rutgers is a bucket
A
and a
fascinating
problem.
player.
That is a bucket, and in so many ways, she is a problem.
Craziest shot profile in the country right now. Just all pull-up jumpers, nothing off like catch and shoot. It's just everything self-created.
Go get a
ISO,
bucket.
Let's get a bucket. Let's get a bucket.
And
Yeah,
if you miss, Destiny Adams will get the rebound.
I looked this up so our chat works like this. We watch games, we freak out, we send each other clips, and we're like, hey, who's this? Except Hunter already knows all the freshmen because now he like does the overtime circuit. Get that bag, Hunter. So he knew Kiyomi McMiller, and he was already watching like Rutgers play like NJIT and lose, which is first of all on its face
They won.
barely. Fine. It's basically a loss, which on its face is kind of impressive. But also, I finally started watching her against Virginia Tech, and first of all, what the frick?
I told you it's not. It wasn't just like a small school like just dominating against bad teams. Like,
You look up her stats. On the season. She's 0 for 6 on. She's 0 for 6 on catch and shoot threes, and what did I say? She was 9 for 15 on pull up threes.
That's a perfect basketball player.
She has more pull up threes than rim attempts.
It's a perfect basketball player.
She's basically she is out there just playing she's out there like a my career player. That's just what she looks like. For now, it's working.
Yeah.
Rutgers
We'll see what
just
happens
doesn't
when we get to
have-
Big Ten play.
They play, what is it, USC, Ohio State, and Maryland within like a week stretch. Like 7 days, they're playing all 3 of those teams.
Gotta say, not fun.
I am going to, I think, 2 of those 3 games. First of all, actually, this season, finally, have reason to be excited about going to Rutgers in person for something other than the away team. I'm going with what will eventually be my sister-in-law, to the UCLA game because she went to UCLA. Very, very excited to introduce her to Kiyomi because I showed my mom like a couple of the highlights from the Virginia Tech game yesterday, and literally she's just on the couch with her jaw hanging down. Like
we got
how?
February 17th and February 20th are the 2 games to look forward to. Northwestern Rutgers immediately followed by Rutgers Washington. Those could be deciding 18th place in the Big Ten this season.
Is that an exaggeration? There are actually 18 teams.
There are 18 teams in the Big Ten.
It's a whole league.
So, yeah, you get 1 game. Everyone's going to have to make the LA trip. Everyone, at some point, not necessarily this year, but everyone's going to have to make the LA trip. Everybody's going to have to make the Washington, Oregon trip. And then they've already done this in volleyball, and it's wildly confusing to try to follow where teams are at any moment because they could be playing at 10 o'clock Eastern at Rutgers, or they could be playing at 1 a.m. Eastern at Washington. You never know what time something is going to start.
The nice thing about that West Coast, or not West Coast, the nice thing about that Pacific Northwest trip is at least you basically get 2 free wins, unless you're Rutgers. No, Northwestern's going to kick both of their asses.
Northwestern is terrible.
They beat Utah.
Utah, not okay.
You think Washington
I
could
cannot-
beat Utah?
Maybe. If Utah
Maybe?
played the way that they did against Northwestern, I think they could lose to anyone. Northwestern hit like 24 mid-range pull-up jumpers in that game. Utah missed so many free throws and so many layups, And it was just an absolute disaster of a game. Midway through the fourth quarter, they had to delay the game for 25 minutes because somebody set a fire alarm off. Just it was it
Some
was
U.S.
just
Congress
a
type beat.
mess all around. But it was a fascinating game, a game so bad that it immediately led the Utah coach to leave and take a job with the Sparks.
Yeah,
That's what we
I would
call-
also immediately jump ship
Yeah,
for LA if I
absolutely.
lost to Northwest.
Absolutely.
Fire drill.
That's what we call a segue. We'll get back and we'll talk about
Segway!
the LA Sparks and their new hire this offseason.
Oh yeah, that happened.
We've all hit a point where you realize it was time to make serious money moves. Take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Learn more at chime.com MBA. Eligible members get complimentary boosts to temporarily increase a friend's spot me limit. When you give a boost, they can boost you back to temporarily raise your limit. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/MBA. That's chime.com/MBA. Chime feels like progress. Also with Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time, they have curation that makes it easier to get your tickets. They also have all-in pricing, seat views, lowest price guaranteed, and ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON Women's Basketball for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON Women's Basketball for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right. The LA Sparks have a new head coach. What is your initial thoughts when you saw this hiring? 3-pointers.
My first thought was, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh?
Look, I'm not saying it's a bad hire. I'd like to be clear. When they hired Reagan Peevely, I was like, that's a bad hire. That's a really bad hire. When they hired Lynn Roberts, I was just like, what? Like, she by all intents and purposes, she appears to be a good head coach. What she's done at Utah in the like pre-legal NIL era, in terms of the build-up to NIL, because they have a surprisingly strong NIL program. What she did there before NIL was like legitimately, it was impressive after NIL. They were the two most famous missed free throws since the I think 2007 national championship, away from possibly winning a natty.
Yeah, they absolutely could have.
Yeah, they would have beaten the eventual champs and would have needed just 2 more wins to get there. That being said, yeah, by all intents and purposes, seems to be a very good head coach. She seems to be quite good with getting buy-in. She seems to be good with player development. It's hard to judge someone at Utah, frankly, because you have a very limited set of players that you can work with.
Well, De'Erica Hamby is basically the idealized version of what she was using Alyssa Peely as at Utah for the last 3 years, and that is
LA
just
Hamby,
super fun fit.
Mm-hmm. They're also for the record dropping a goddamn bag for Lynn. I'm pretty sure she was making previously. She was making in the high 6 figures before, and LA is not only obviously increasing that salary, but they're paying the buyout.
Wow! Oh, I did not know about that.
We've been informed they're probably paying the buyout.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not definitely.
Shout out to WNBA teams finally realizing, like 3 years after everyone else realized, hey, there's no salary cap on coaching.
Critical support to Karen Bryant?
Magic Johnson.
He is working. No, don't finish that sentence.
One thing with this hire I'm excited about is Rakia Jackson and like not taking as many pull-up twos. Rakia
She
last
will now be
season-
taking 0 pull-up twos.
Hey, she was better on pull-up threes last season than pull-up twos, and she's kind of known for pull-up twos.
Uh-huh. That is, I actually didn't realize that. That's what?
Yep. You know,
What were
some of
what were the percentages?
It was like 40% on pull-up threes. It was like not a lot of. It was like 30 attempts total on pull-up
That's-
twos. It was like
that's not nothing.
32%.
Yeah, that is. No, it's like 1 per game. That's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
It was
Huh.
either that or like 15 attempts. It was something like that. I don't know. Big
Low
difference
number,
there.
good percentage. Still, good thing to have happen.
Yeah.
The third thing I thought was Lexi Brown is under contract for 2 more years. That could be
One
fun
more
if
year.
you.
Oh no, she's had an extension.
She's
right.
through 26. Yeah.
She's had an extension.
She's Lexi Brown and Kalani Brown, the only players currently not on rookie deals that are under contract through 2026.
And on very different salary values, let me tell you that much.
And movement shooting, very interesting kind of thing that you could add. She can be like an upgraded version of what Kennedy McQueen. you know, the,
What? What?
Utah
What
does a
comparison
lot-
is this?
Shooting. They shoot. They both shoot the ball.
Okay. Lexi Brown is like a plus defender. What are we
Who
doing
is,
here?
who is the upgraded Jenna Johnson?
I mean, Cameron Brink.
No, that's an insult to Brink even at that stage. The upgraded Jenna Johnson is wait, who the hell was it? Oh, it was Azrae Stevens.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
there
right.
it is. There it is.
Yeah, the Sparks are interesting. I will be interested to see how much both Lynn Roberts and Carl Smesko are willing to compromise their shot profile to adapt to the talent they have on their rosters.
One of those two is gonna need to compromise a lot more than the other, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But,
and,
you know-
but for me, that's Lynn Roberts because she just has a
Sure.
lot more players under contract.
Sure, yeah. But Lynn also was very good at utilizing good post-up players at Utah. So
Sure.
you have if you have ways to use the post-ups as leverage to create open threes, Rakia Jackson, De'Erica Hamby, go get on the block and post up. That's going to be very interesting to me. I'm very excited for next season.
We truly are in a very strangely different era of the WNBA. Like, not in a bad way, but just in a very weird way.
Very weird way.
More hires from college. That's kind of like the trend we're seeing now.
Can't wait for WNBA head coach Megan Duffy.
Kenny Brooks.
Honestly,
come on down.
Honestly, I was literally about to say him. Like unironically, hire Kenny Brooks.
Yeah, he's proven to be a good coach.
He will not play with pace. He will never play with pace. But good God, is he going to draw some goddamn plays?
Speaking of Kentucky, do you have any thoughts on any of their players?
I mean, that win against Duke was really annoying the other week, but like they deserved it. They got good shooters when they space the floor. You know, they can make it work.
Clara
Oh,
Stroud?
women's basketball. Yeah, they play a lot of they play a lot of people who would be like contenders for Summit League Player of the Year. It's the nicest way I can put it. Also regarding a thread I was pulling at in our chat, I think a week ago, Tiani Key looks like a very not necessarily very good, not bad. She seems like a very solid player, which is a huge indictment on Courtney Bangert. Courtney Bangert has, to the best of our knowledge, not developed a single player at UNC, which is really weird. Trust me, I'm rooting for Courtney Bangert. I assure you.
Shout out to the Ivies.
Shout out to lesbians.
Go to break.
All right, let's get to our last ad break.
This is
and then,
homophobic.
And then we'll get back and talk about some basketball some more.
Talk about women's basketball. We're all lesbians.
With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial flavors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows you to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now the useful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. All right.
I'd like to state for the record that Mo Curry was right, just not in the way that she was trying to make it seem.
Speaking of Northwestern, I think that in about an hour, probably after you hear this, go check the Harvard Northwestern box score if you're listening to this right now, because Harmony Turner probably had like 70 points.
Harmony Turner is like hooping this season.
Harmony Turner is like, she could be legit, and I mean, like, she is legit. I love watching her play. I have for years, but like, she could be like a real player.
Yeah. Yeah, if she scores 70 points against Northwestern, put her on the board right now.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. You try a hard bargain, Lincoln.
Yeah, she had, what did she have, like 77 points in a 2-game stretch earlier this season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Good.
41 against Boston College, 38 against Maine, and hit 11 threes in those 2 games.
And that is a lot of threes.
All of them were like off the dribble too. It was like Keone McMiller,
Yeah.
like Harvard edition.
That's not NJIT. That is a more rigorous institution in terms of athletics. Barely. Barely. I can't give Boston College too many props. But, you know.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Harvard when you were like a more rigorous institution athletically. I was like, I mean, you're right, but like,
I mean, NJIT probably allows grad students to play, but
I mean, I don't think otherwise they'd be able to field a team.
Yeah, fair enough.
Trust me, I've watched them play.
Ooh, we're finally getting to like interesting games this week. Happy Thanksgiving tournament week.
Feast week. It's Flow Hoops Feast week, baby. Time to watch teams use the wrong 3-point line.
Yeah, yeah. If you have Flow Hoops, good for you.
No, if you have Flow Hoops, why are you supporting them? Save that
That's
money.
a great point.
It's not worth it.
Didn't you like?
It's so expensive.
Didn't you pay for it like 3 months after because you forgot to cancel it?
Every single game has
Screw
like a
you,
radio
Hunter.
call. If you go to teams' websites and click schedule, there should be a little link that says listen, and you can listen to their radio calls. They're better than
Is this
Flow
19?
Sports.
I once covered a Duke basketball game from home, like over Thanksgiving when they were in Fort Myers. When they were in Fort Myers because it was on
Fort
Flow Hoops,
Myers
and we were not paying. No, it was just against FGCU. So we were not paying for that, and so I listened to the radio and I wrote a damn article about it.
Yeah, radios are a beautiful thing. I have listened to the radio call of at least 5 different games this season, and it's very fun. If you're just trying to keep up with the action, it's a great way to do it. Sometimes you get biased commentators who are very funny, and I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah. Today in the afternoon we have, of course, the headliner Indiana Columbia, which is
I was gonna say
supported.
Georgia Penn State.
Now that's an anxiety ball. That is an anxiety ball right there. And then we have, of course, the backup of Notre Dame of USC. You know,
Sure.
it's okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
if you want
they
to
have
watch
basketball
that, that's your prerogative.
I'm more
It's a great
interested
word.
by FGCU against Georgetown.
Mm. Yeah, the start of the new era.
Yeah.
Probably it's actually the same era, but it's a new coach.
What is this, Brett?
Ball
FG
State.
FGCU,
and
FGCU, but it's the same, but they have a different head coach, so it's different.
Ball State, UNC. Ball State has been very good this year. I think Allie Becky, Ball State guard, was a rebound, an assist, and 2 steals away from a quadruple double earlier this season.
Hell yeah. Opening game, too.
Yeah, and they took the hurt to Memphis and Northern Iowa. So Ball State has a transitive win over Iowa State now. So North Carolina, be on your guard.
To be frank, I would not be surprised if Ball State was actually a better team than Iowa State.
Fair enough.
Yeah, keep an eye on Tessa Towers on Ball State.
I watched her. She's solid. Where'd she transfer from? I know she was somewhere.
Wisconsin.
I was saying I know somewhere like
She's only
vaguely
played
relevant.
13 minutes this season, but Tessa Towers, she's cool.
Nominative determinism strikes again.
Yeah,
This is the part of the podcast where we have.
Is averaging 17.7 rebounds and 6.5 assists through 4 games so far.
It's pretty good.
Which I'm told are good numbers.
This is the part of the podcast where we look at the schedule and fill time until we hit that third ad break.
That's definitely part of the podcast.
Isn't Ayoka Lee averaging like 50 points per game
Yes,
this season?
Ayoka Lee at Kansas State is very tall and is playing 14.5 minutes per game right now and is scoring 19 points per game in those 14.5 minutes, which if you do the math, which her Hoop Stats has done, comes out to 51 points.
They have kindly done a multiplication for us.
Yes, they have done math where they take 15 minutes and put it into 40 minutes. She's taking somewhere around 33 shots per 40 minutes and making 22 of them. Scoring 19 points in 15 minutes per game is just hilarious.
Do
And
you know
honestly,
how many points? I have a question. Do you know how many points she is averaging per 100 possessions?
it's got to be over 60.
Any guesses?
No.
A lot.
70.6.
What?
Yeah.
Last season was
What?
40.
She has a
What?
45% usage right now and is scoring 1.33 points per shot attempt, which is a 67% effective field goal percentage, which is
No,
good.
that's a 67% true shooting.
Sure.
No. Wait, no, it's higher than that.
Yeah, it's
That's a 75%?
somewhere in there.
Who cares? No one
Points per
listening to this
possession,
cares.
1.27.
It's crazy.
She hasn't taken a single three.
She never
Who
will.
needs to? Yeah, she doesn't need to. But Kansas
Yeah.
State, some interesting stuff going on down there.
No, and
this
none of it involves the point guard.
This actually was a specific pitch by multiple Big 12 commentators coming into the season. Shout out to Jamie Steiner Johnson of Her Hoop Stats, who said, I'd like to see Ayoka Lee play less than 20 minutes per game during the regular season because she's shown that the injuries are a problem if she's playing too many minutes. Let her go out there and cook for a shorter amount of time and see what happens. And they're seeing what happens, and it's overwhelmingly positive right now.
Lincoln, do you know who Kansas State's next opponent is?
I do not off the top of my head.
It's Duke on Monday.
Ah, fun. Does
gonna
Duke
be
have
a hell
anyone
of a
over
matchup.
6'1"?
In terms of wingspan, they have two.
Well,
Entire
put
team is
Ayoka
the
Lee
same
back
height.
on the Oklahoma watch.
Nah, Duke has 3 players who have center size, and also apparently we found out this week Jaden Donovan has a +7.5 wingspan.
Hell yeah.
Also that day, Baylor UNC. The day before, Baylor Indiana. South Carolina UCLA is tomorrow.
That's very fun.
It's
What a
very
fun weekend for basketball.
For some reason, Vandy and Arizona are playing. That's gonna suck, but it's gonna be interesting on Tuesday.
That could be very interesting.
I can't wait for that 54-42 win.
Hey. For
Is that too
Vandy?
gen- Arizona's not beating Vandy.
Vandy might
Arizona's
score,
not beating
100
anyone.
points. Arizona allowed like 90.
No, they
97
beat
points.
NAU barely.
They lost to NAU.
Oh,
By
lost
15.
NAU.
By 15.
By 15?
Yeah, NAU
That's
scored
tough.
like 90. It was like 93 to 75.
Is
Why?
Northern
Arizona might score
Arizona
100.
Dude, that's
is Northern
pathetic.
Arizona the best team in the state?
Arizona might not be a top 3 team in the state.
Where does Arizona State rank?
Wherever
Better.
Arizona is -1.
Ooh,
Look at it's GCU better than them? Who knows?
Lincoln, Wednesday we get Duke, Oklahoma. In case you're wondering about Duke playing big centers. For those who
Oh,
may have
Aoka
watched.
Lee Reagan Beers back to back is awful.
Okay, but you know what's? You remember how we were talking about, to wrap it full circle? We were talking about going to Brookings, South Dakota. The
Yeah.
only there were two reasons that game was close. One was because Duke Kara decided to kind of overcommit the backside to help fronting the post, which left the backside three wide open, and then for 3/4,
Haley
uh,
Schimmer.
for 3/4, South Dakota State hit like a very unreasonable number of backside threes. But the other issue was that they couldn't stop Brooklyn Meyer to save their lives.
Yeah. Shout out to
Brooklyn-
Brooklyn and Paige Meyer.
Brooklyn, completely unrelated.
Not related
Brooklyn,
at all. Yeah.
Brooklyn Meyer, I think, is 6'2", maybe 6'3". Aoka Lee and Reagan Beers are both 6'4" and 6'6". That's not going to go well for Duke.
No, yeah, that's gonna be tough.
You know what else is
It'll
going to
be
be tough? Getting through the next week without this podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Go Cleveland Rockers.
Next week we'll have basketball to talk
Segue.
More basketball. There's always more basketball.
Less.
All right, thanks for Locked On Basketball, your first listen every day. Join the team of the next bat next week for continued coverage of women's basketball. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone.